Gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. Let me begin with you, Honorable. Today was quite confusing. In fact, drama is the best word to describe that. What do you read from today's plenary sitting? Because looks like it is going to be deferred on and on and on, but to what end?
Now, thank you very much, Canary, and good evening, viewers. Canary, we took a decision on coffee and UCDA as Parliament when we said we are not rationalizing UCDA, which did not please General Museveni, who thought that this is the time to take away UCDA under the policy of rationalization. Now, as Parliament finished taking a decision, we were supposed to do his part. Instead, he said, called the NRM caucus, said, please go back and make sure UCDA is rationalized. So the events you saw yesterday and the events you saw today is a protest against not the Speaker, against not the members of Parliament of the NRM, but against General Museveni, who has refused to listen to our version of the story, why we think coffee should be left and not added to the disorganization they have created in Maif. So yesterday, there are so many agencies where we have allowed change of rules, where you say suspend this rule or the other. But when it came to coffee, we said no. This is very controversial. As members of Parliament, we don't need this law. As members of Parliament, and we're all speaking together in unison, because this is not a political, it's not a political matter. This is a non-partisan matter. Even members of Parliament, but they have been instructed, members of Parliament from the NRM, the instruction is you must rationalize. You talk to the ministers, they say the right thing would be not to rationalize UCDA because it's a regulatory body. They come on the floor, they speak what the president wants.
So
now,
that's an
what you saw,
perspective. Let me ask, you're saying that members of Parliament from NRM are willing to take a decision, a legislation in this case, make a law without thinking about the consequences of it, just because it's what the president wants? Yeah,
actually, the many of them that you saw today being bundled together to say, vote like this, they know the truth. They know that coffee needs to be left with its own regulatory authority, because we've tried to show them and they know the truth. But because President Museveni wants the coffee to go, they are saying now we have no choice because the president wants it. There is nothing we can do about it. And that's where we are.
Okay.
Apart from a few that have come out from the NRM, because there's a group of those who said no to President, and they've come out to say we are not rationalizing coffee. Many of them have chosen to say, let us see, because this is what the man wants. And that's where we are.
Okay. Let me speak to Robert Byarhanga. Robert, let's look into this. You hold a contrary view to what the members of Parliament are saying, at least some of them. And is this because you think that Ministry of Agriculture, Maif, can actually be a regulator in the coffee industry?
Thank you, Canary, for inviting me here today, for giving us this opportunity. My name is Robert Byarhanga, President of the Uganda Coffee Federation. Do I hold a contrary view? I would say I approach the issue from a different perspective. Our perspective as the private sector is that the government is the government. Whatever framework they bring to us, we will work with it. That is really the perspective. But why do we think that we can work with whatever is brought to us? It is because of the way the coffee sector is structured in Uganda. So the debates that are going on in Parliament, I think, are a little bit political. not business in nature. So when we say, for instance, that how does the value of Ugandan coffee get determined? Right? So price discovery, how does price discovery happen? How does the information disseminate to the participants in the value chain so quickly, so fast, every day? How come we have such high liquidity in the industry? It is because of the underlying free market model that this government brought to us, as we all know. So the free market model means that a trader in Kampala will buy coffee today, money will come in from a bank in Switzerland, and practically in minutes, that money will be in a bank account of somebody in Kayunga. In Kayunga. It's really serious. People, like, we need to really appreciate some of these things. If you want to know what a non-free market model means, you can check Burundi. It's a very, very good example. I have some very good friends from Burundi who are going through a really tough time because of the lack of freedom in how they trade. So we have a fantastic model, and as private sector, our thing is, like, if we can maintain the free market model, if we can maintain seedlings, the right planting materials going to the farmers. Where do these planting materials come from? It's from the National Coffee Research Institute in Kituza, where I spent a week only last week. If we can keep the banking system working flawlessly as it has been working, if we can do all these things, then the structure of government, how the industry is governed, it shouldn't really matter so much. But again, as I said, I'm from the private sector, so I cannot really speak politically.
Well, Robert, let's get into it.
Yeah.
If you look at it closely,
yeah.
Because UCDA is at least from its mandate after the UCDA Act of 1996,
yes,
it's to look at also ensure quality of the coffee.
That's a very good point, Kanare.
You know government's history with doing business. Do you think it can take over this sector?
Thank you for bringing up...
And we still maintain our position, or even improve our position in coffee export in Africa? Thank
you very much for bringing up that issue, because when we talk about quality control in coffee industry today in Uganda, what do we mean? I brought my tab here to just so that I can read it for you correctly without making a mistake. I'll say that Uganda is gifted by nature, right? The quality of coffee that we talk about is influenced by two things, climate and altitude, right? So coffee plants demand the perfect balance of sunlight, rain, and temperature to produce the highest quality beans. Now, in our country today, planting is done by the farmer. I'm sure we all agree on this. Planting of coffee is done by the farmer. What do we need in planting? The right seedlings. Where do the seedlings come from? Nakori. Harvesting, we have got to harvest the red cherries only. Who encourages, who inspires our farmers to harvest red cherries only? UCDA has done this job fantastically well. Can the ministry do this? Absolutely, yes, I think they can. Processing, dry or wet method, again, this is a thing that UCDA has been advocating for and has done a fantastic job. After that, it's drying this coffee to the right moisture content level, which is 12% for Arabica and 12.5% for Robusta. Milling, hulling, grading, and sorting, right? There's testing the coffee or capping it for export. Then there is the actual act of exporting itself. Roasting the coffee, this is when it comes to value addition, and brewing the coffee.
And so you think the ministry can do that?
In this, as you've seen, no. The exporter, a typical exporter, takes care of the quality control from the drying stage.
Well,
this is
we can go deep into even things like storage. But Honorable Nsamba, let me come to you. So we now see there's sort of a puzzle to be solved here in Parliament. What is likely going to happen? How are you going to get out of this? The Speaker, you say in your own words, that wants to do what the President wants. But members of Parliament are opposing that, saying you are putting a sector into a disastrous situation. What is going to happen next? How are you going to get out of this conundrum?
Kanare, first of all, I'm so disappointed from this gentleman who calls himself the the president of Coffee Federation. I think it must be an institution that is managed by himself and his friends. He cannot call this a political talk. You cannot say that. I'm a politician, I'm a coffee farmer. You cannot say this is just a political talk. Why? It is us who talked, who you're saying that it's just a political talk, when the government refused to supply coffee seedlings to farmers. Now, a coffee seedling has gone from 500 to 3,500. He's here claiming that seedlings are provided by Nakori. But all coffee nurseries have been established by UCDA. Has Nakori established any coffee nursery anywhere in the country? So does he know what he's talking about? I feel bad that at this level we have regime apologists that can come here and claim that they are doing something in the sector. I am going to follow up about that federation, and I will know how it is being run, if he's the man
briefly,
that is managing it. Now,
what next?
What next is that we will not relent. Government took away seedlings, claiming that it is going to give farmers PDM money. We, members of parliament, insisted that's a wrong decision. After 1 year alone, government has approved that it was a wrong decision because the farmers have totally failed to plant coffee since 2022. And we're telling government that don't make another mistake, leave the regulator. If the regulator is, because what Duncan is saying is Duncan is trying to tell you that UCDA has no role in what they are doing. That's the narrative he's trying to create.
Okay.
But we are trying to let you know that UCDA, for us, that's what we know, is the regulator. They are the ones that we talk about when we are dealing with the pests and diseases. They are the ones that are in the villages, down in the villages, talking to people about quality. Nakori and his federation, they are nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
What federation is he talking about when we, the farmers, don't know him?
Unfortunately,
we are the farmers in Kasanda, don't know him, and here is claiming that he's a president of Uganda Coffee Federation when you're not known by the farmers. Now we know UCDA. That's what we want to protect, and we think we cannot take this to this organization in Maif. Maif failed to supply goats that they required to give them. They failed on managing zonal agricultural institutions. They failed on virtually everything. What are they doing? Anything that comes from Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you so much, Honorable Patrick Nsamba and Robert Byarhanga, President of Uganda Coffee
I would like to clarify.
Federation. Unfortunately, out of time.
A federation that is not known by farmers. Which one is that one?
But here is more to come. Let me grab a cup of coffee.